and that is commensurate with surrounding school districts.
So a couple of questions.
Yes.
The substitutes, even if they are long-term substitutes, they don't become part of the bargaining unit, correct?
Correct.
And what if we have a long-term substitute that carries over to the next year? Would they still be BA1? Do they go to BA2? In other words, I'm sure that happens occasionally, that substitutes come back for the next school year. Would they
That has
still-
not happened yet in the couple of years that I've been here. It almost happened for next year,
Mhm.
but that person has taken a permanent position in another district.
Or would they move to BA2 if they stayed a second year? Or would they stay at BA1?
I
That's
think
a good
the rational
question.
thing would be to keep them at BA1, because
Right.
it's still a long-term
It's still
substitute
a sub.
starting a
Right, they're
new-
not part of the bargaining
Yeah.
unit, and,
That's correct.
okay. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Thank you.
Can I ask a clarifying question about
Go ahead.
procedure?
Yes.
Why do we have to vote on this? What's the
I don't think
precedent?
we do have to vote on it.
I think
Okay,
this
I
is
just
something that
wanted
you
to
can change
clarify
as a
that-
superintendent.
Just information.
Yeah, she.
Because it's
just
not part of
information.
of a bargaining unit,
Right.
so
I don't think
usually
it
we
re-
would be if there was a
I don't
bargaining.
think it requires a vote. I think it falls in that realm of budgetary
Yeah.
type issues.
I
that-
think, yeah, I don't think we need to vote on this.
I mean, we can certainly go to consensus, would that be helpful?
Census would be helpful.
Yeah,
Then I think we should do that.
so consensus, Jerry, you're.
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I'm
Cliff?
fine with it.
Yeah.
Karen? Okay, so
Thank you.
unanimous consensus that we support this.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Next, we have two proposed 2012-2013 meeting schedules.
Yes. In your packet, as Ms. Webster just said, you have two proposed schedules. The first, and on those schedules, you can see that with an asterisk, there are days that are different in draft 1 from draft 2. You can see that typically, the school committee meets on the second and the fourth Monday of every month. But this year, we changed it to be the first and the third around the holidays because it was impossible to maintain that second and fourth and still meet twice a month. So what I've proposed for you in draft 1 is, again, town meeting is going to be on October 1st, and moving the school committee meeting to October 15th and October 29th. So you'd have two meetings in October, you'd have two meetings in November, and then only one meeting in December because of the holidays. The difference between this schedule and draft 2 is that you would have, you'd move the first school committee meeting to Tuesday, October 9th, because we have Columbus Day in there. So you have to decide whether you want to go to a Tuesday and then go back to a Monday. Because I believe if you take a look at the October calendar, that's not October 12th. The second Tuesday of the month in October is the 9th.
Right.
And then the 23rd, or the 22nd is the Monday. So the second Monday of the month is the holiday in October. So you'd have to go to a Tuesday instead of a Monday. And then the fourth Monday is the 22nd. On the draft 1, you'd actually be meeting on the third Monday of the month in October, and then the fifth Monday, which is the 29th. If you choose to continue to meet on Mondays and not that Tuesday, that's why it has an effect on the following November and December meeting dates on draft 1.
This isn't a reason to approve one or the other, but I know that I won't be available on November 26th for a meeting. I also don't like the fact that it's 5 weeks between that December 10th and the January 14th meeting. I think that's a long time in the middle of the school year for us to not be meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I preferred draft 2.
I also prefer draft 2.
I just want to bring your attention to draft 2, just so that it's explicitly stated on draft 2. We've identified one meeting in February because the March meeting would be the first Monday instead of the second Monday.
Oh. But that's not as long a period of time.
No,
But
no.
it's still 3 weeks.
And the reason why you can see that, it's been suggested as the first and the third, March 25th is Passover.
Oh, okay.
And on the draft one, if you did the second and the fourth, that would be the 11th and the 25th.
I like this. The only thing I'm wondering is April on draft 2. Why do we go from the 1st to the 22nd? Why aren't we?
Vacation week, I'm
Oh,
Vacation.
school vacation? Okay.
I have no preference. I can accommodate either. I don't have a concern about the gap in December.
Same with me, Karen. My first priority is school committee meeting, so it doesn't matter which,
And American Idol.
Well, the guys who've been here as long as you, obviously it's your life.
whatever it is.
He's
Correct.
actually
All he
bolted to
does.
the seat,
Right.
just so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see any problem.
But draft 2 is
Draft two?
my preference because, as I
I
said,
know that's Cliff.
Yep.
All right, draft 2.
And we do have we can schedule another meeting in February if we need to. For
Okay.
any reason, we can do a placeholder of February 25th.
all right.
And can I
Okay.
just ask, so do we want to continue our practice of having executive session at 6:30?
I like it, but
There has been a request by Mr. Kushakji to alternate executive sessions if we need to have one
After.
have one, if we're doing one for one meeting, have it before the meeting, the school committee meeting, and if we need another one, the following school committee meeting, do
I
it
think that's
after the school
reasonable
committee
because I know
meeting.
Mike really has a hard time. I know you have to really rush to get here. So,
that's their problem. We got
Yeah.
three.
Well, if I could just say that, I mean, I like that idea. I think
Yeah.
it's really useful. I think potentially we might not just want to alternate. We might want to be a little more specific about which ones we pick, maybe looking forward, because some of our agendas are really light. And it might make sense for us to do an evening meeting on those days.
I think we have a light agenda, yeah.
Yeah, and in budget cycles, I think it's harder for us to be later because
Yeah.
that time we're just so packed with an agenda. So I'm happy to try to come at 6:30 all the time. It is harder for me to do because of Boston traffic. I do drive to
So
Boston
both you
every
and
day.
Mike are prioritizing the job ahead of school
Yeah,
committee.
Can you
well,
believe
you
that?
know, I have a husband at
Terrible. I
home I have to
never
take
did
care
that.
of.
Yeah. I do think, I like the idea of alternating when we can, as Karen said,
Sit on
especially if
the
we're gonna have
couch.
a light agenda.
So it would be at the discretion of the chair.
Right. And I
Yeah.
can talk to you each week and look at the agenda. And I know Jerry will be here whenever we do it.
He is bolted to the seat.
Right. It's his life.
In fact, I'll come for the early and the late. I'll be here.
Even if we don't do an early session, you'll come early. Okay. So,
Is that
we're all
okay
set with draft
Cliff?
2?
Is that okay with
You're all right
Cliff?
with that, Cliff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's my preference.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mass
Check
exec,
Where are we?
side tables to make sure
Yes.
it's all right.
Mass Executive Institute report.
I'll
Mrs.
keep
Willis.
this very brief.
She's so
Um,
tan.
I know.
That's what happened.
Yes.
That's the report right
That's the
there.
report.
Done. In July, from July 10th to the 13th, I attended the MASS, Mass Association of School Superintendents Executive Institute. It is held in Falmouth, and it was a beautiful week. So I managed to find some time
A
to.
lot of outdoor sessions.
A lot
at
of
the-
outdoor
yeah,
sessions.
right,
I
okay.
did go down 2 days ahead of time, and it was absolutely glorious. So, made a little mini vacation to start. But I just wanted to highlight some of the sessions that I did attend for you so that you have a sense of what I do when I go to these things. One general session that I wanted to emphasize was called The Art of Achievement in Times of Change, and our keynote speaker was Tom Morris from the Washington Speakers Bureau. It was really quite interesting. And he considers himself to be a philosopher, and he talks about excellence and success, navigating challenging times, adapting to different situations, and mastering change, promoting effective leadership, ethics, and the pursuit of greater organizational and personal responsibilities. He really spoke for about an hour and a half, but all of his discussion was boiled down to this one little card that he handed out to all of us.
You wasted an hour and 58 minutes.
And then he gave you that card.
It says
Very,
wisdom.
very
on it.
small.
Wisdom.
Twisdom.
Twitter wisdom. A philosopher ponders life in 140 characters or less. Tom Morris. And it's called The 7 C's of Success: conception, confidence, concentration, consistency, commitment, character, and a capacity to enjoy. And of course, there's a little bit of description around each one of those. So he spoke and really described these at length as to how they translate into the job of the superintendent. So it was really quite interesting. The Professional Development Committee works very hard through MASS to identify sponsors to underwrite this event. And so this year they asked us to spend a considerable amount of time with the sponsors to learn about the products. And there is, in the gymnasium of the school where this conference is held, Mashpee High School, there are over 100 vendors that have set up booths that talk about their products and share their expertise with those of us that attend. So I did spend a considerable amount of time with the sponsors, and I was very pleased to be able to bring back a lot of information that I've already shared with Patrick Daly, our Director of Academic Services, around professional development opportunities, as well as information regarding the implementation of the new educator evaluation system. So there is a benefit to doing that, and I was really pleased to do that this year. That happened on the first day. Also, in the afternoon, we had breakout sessions on the first day. And one of my goals that you're going to be seeing this year is really to become more of a technology superintendent. So my breakout session was to attend Ed Camp, Technology Tools That Support the Work of the Superintendent. The presenters were Eric Conti and Patrick Larkin, superintendent and principal at in Burlington. And so I learned an awful lot about there are actual technology standards for administrators under ISTE and NETS, the National Education Technology Standards. So I learned about what those are and how to operationalize those as a superintendent. And I hope to be presenting more to you around how I can make those come to life as we go through the course of the next school year.
Are those something you would achieve, take a test for,
No.
accreditation? Oh, it's just...
No, it's just something that's recommended for superintendents around building a culture that supports technology. Policies that the school committee establish have an effect on the culture that supports technology. So the policy subcommittee and I will be having conversations about expanding our acceptable use policy to potentially include BYOD, which is bring your own device. So we'll have lots of conversations about moving in this direction in the future. But I was really pleased to attend that. I also attended a workshop with a keynote speaker, Carla Brooks-Bear, who was the former Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Education. Her focus was new thinking about leadership for school leaders and really taking a look at the educator evaluation system. Tomorrow, there's an evaluation subcommittee meeting. The chair and the vice chair of the school committee sit on that, and I'll be sharing some of what I learned with them as we move forward with the negotiations regarding the educator evaluation system implementation in this district, as well as the changes that are being mandated regarding superintendent evaluation.
When does that go into effect for superintendent? Is it for next?
No, we can implement it in 13-14, but I would like to talk to the evaluation subcommittee about implementing maybe earlier than that, and I wanted to get your opinion after you have a chance to read this whole section of a document that's been published by the department around that.
I was hoping it would be on a little card, but
No.
if I have to read
It's about
it.
140
It
pages.
is. It's called microfilm.
Yeah.
Twist them. Let's see. I also attended. This is always fascinating. I love going to the session that's presented by MASS Legal Counsel, Attorney Michael Long, and Attorney Roseanne DePietro. Legal cases, findings, cautions, and prevention measures. They talked about open meeting law, superintendent evaluations, electronic communications, reductions in force, licensure, and recertification. So lots of information there. And then I also attended in the afternoon a presentation on what you might hear from time to time called PARCC, P-A-R-C-C, and it's the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. And this, the presenters were two gentlemen that work for this company called Achieve. They are one of two companies that have been awarded funding through the U.S. Department of Education to develop the next generation of student summative assessments. And this goes along with the Common Core and the changes that will be happening across this state regarding MCAS and incorporating the Common Core standards into the curriculum frameworks. And